Hello, good morning, and welcome to Tenerife, the island at the moment. I'm making this video. It's the middle of March 2020, and at the moment, the island is very quiet because fewer and fewer people are coming to the island because of the coronavirus, and that's what I thought would be a good topic for today, to talk about the link between our seemingly insatiable hunger for meat and dairy, and the connection between that and outbreaks of viruses and other diseases such as the coronavirus. So maybe the current virus outbreak is a good place to start. I didn't really know a lot about it, but I did some time researching and found out that at the time anyway, it seems that the coronavirus broke out in China, in Wuhan, in a animal market, but not a normal animal market, if there is such a thing as a normal animal market. Well, I suppose in 2020 it's still normal, but hopefully in the future it won't be. But anyway, this is a wild animal market where all sorts of exotic animals are sold, for both medicine and for taste pleasure. So these animals include snake, donkeys, reptiles, baboons, bats, hedgehogs, all sorts of you'll hopefully see a list, all sorts of animals, and apparently this is a huge industry in China. So these markets exist. People come to buy these wild animals, to like I said, to eat them or to use them for medicinal purposes. And the thing is, with these markets, it's been known for quite a while that these markets are a hotbed of virus jumping. So these places are ideal places for viruses to move from one species to another. And in the case of the current coronavirus, obviously the virus has jumped from a wild animal to humans. But it was also the same way that there was a SARS outbreak several years ago, and it's also thought that these wild animal markets in China were also the cause of this SARS outbreak. So obviously a problem. The Chinese authorities also recognize that this is a huge problem. And yesterday there was a news bulletin saying that the Chinese authorities had now moved to ban the consumption and the sale of wild animals. So it looks like something is beginning to happen in China. It looks like they're beginning to recognize that this is a problem and could even be a bigger problem in the future. So I also, there's quite a large community of vegetarians and vegans in China, and they've been protesting in their own way for many years and pointing the finger at the meat eaters for causing well, first of all, for eating animals, but secondly, trying to highlight the risk of contagious viruses being born out of their actions. So hats off to them. Can't be easy in a country like China. In 1995, I moved from Sheffield in the north of England. I moved to Germany, and at the time, around that time, the mad cow disease was a big topic, and I thought I'd look into the causes of that. Mad cow disease was brought about because, for what reason I have no idea, but for some reason we decided in our intelligence that it was a good idea to feed ground up sheep to cattle to fatten them, and this caused the disease in cattle, which then managed to jump from cattle to humans. So this was another example of how we are creating diseases purely for our hunger for meat in a very unnatural way, it has to be said. When I say that, I mean the unnatural way of feeding. I mean, cows are not meant to eat ground up sheep, but this is what was happening. It was being put in their feed. So yeah, there's that. And because the consequences of that was that 4.4 million cattle had to be slaughtered in an attempt to prevent the disease from spreading. So yeah, what do you say? But it's not just wild animals that we should be concerned about when it comes to new deadly viruses. According to the World Health Organization, they believe that the next deadly, really serious outbreak or virus will actually come from factory farmed animals. Probably, they think, in the USA. And in the USA, there are actual teams of scientists that spend their entire year, this is their job. They just go from one factory farm to another factory farm, trying to prevent the outbreak of new viruses. It's probably no coincidence that 80% of all antibiotics in the United States are fed to factory farmed animals. I mean, just let that sink in. For me, this is one of the most frightening statistics you could ever hear. 80% of all antibiotics, you know, the probably the greatest invention man's ever made, and yet they're being fed to animals for what? So we can all enjoy cheap meat. I mean, how long is this going to last? Not long. One report said by 2050, they expect 10 million people a year to be dying from antibiotic-resistant strains of various diseases. So, serious issue, and we continue to do it. It all boils back down to the same thing: our desire to taste meat, the convenience of being able to eat meat, tradition that says that we should eat meat, and habit because we've always eaten meat. The same things, and these are the same things that are driving the wild animal markets in China. But it's no use pointing the finger at China, because in my hometown of Sheffield, or I mean, I don't want to pick out Sheffield as being particularly unique. Anywhere really, people say that they are for animal rights until you point out that if they want to do something about it, they won't be eating bacon anymore. And then suddenly the taste of bacon becomes far more important than anything else. It becomes more important than the environment. It becomes more important than their own health. It becomes more important than the rights and lives of these poor animals that we're torturing. It becomes more important than the antibiotic resistance in hospitals that might eventually kill their own grandchildren. It's just really, really sad, and governments are not going to change this. The government in China are not going to change it. They say that they're doing something, but the reality of all major social changes, ethical changes, come from the people. We have to stand up and make a change. And being vegan is passive. It's not difficult. All you need to do is to stop buying meat and dairy, and you are making a contribution. Oh God, I try not to get too serious in these videos. My idea is that I want this to be educational. My intention is to motivate, to give you energy to go forward and so on. But you know, when I'm doing the research for this and I'm looking into things, it really you can't help, or I can't help but get a little angry with how we all are. Yesterday I was the other day I went for a meal in the Indian restaurant, and I was ordering obviously a vegan dish, of which there are plenty. And, you know, the table next to me, the guy, poor guy, ordered chicken. Everybody orders chicken, you know. And I had this sudden urge to say, why are you ordering chicken? Why don't you order something else? What about the bird? And of course, that's unfair. That's how I was. But anyway, the point of this video is that the viruses that are now sweeping across the whole world are closing down countries like Italy, Spain. That's at the time now. Who knows how it will develop? These are preventable public health issues. This could all be prevented. It wouldn't exist if we weren't, as a race, eating meat. So another very, very good reason to change our ways. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll get over the crisis soon and people will start returning to our sunny island of Tenerife. Bye bye.